So I published an article earlier. I kind of rewrote it in my own words because I don't believe in copying and pasting content, but I wrote an article earlier. It was a news article, and of course I credited the source. But I wrote an article about a gentleman and his girlfriend who seem like they were using heroin. I assume they were using it together, but there's a controversy about what happened as to whether or not he purposely killed her. But it's a horrifying story either way, because he apparently injected a lethal dose of a combination of heroin and fentanyl into his pregnant girlfriend, and it killed her. And honestly, this is just so horrible, reading these stories, and then of course rewriting them in your own words. It's like you feel like you're living the actual event and going through what they're going through. He was sentenced to jail. I think it might have been 5 to 15 years. And ultimately, he got a deal because in the state of Michigan, apparently, you can be sentenced up to life for a controlled substance injection. And so he could have gotten life, but they apparently worked out a deal with him so that if he gave up his dealer, that he would get 5 to 15 years. But I don't know. I know that the girl's father was very concerned, very upset, and seems to believe that he purposely killed her. And the police apparently don't believe that after investigating the concerns. But allegedly, she was 15 months sober before the event. And we don't really know the truth. We just know what we have read and what we heard. But it's extremely heartbreaking and extremely sad. And it just reminds me how much death is occurring given the heroin epidemic. It's spreading, it's getting bigger, and it drives me crazy because we obviously post all this content, which is important. Obviously, we do need to educate and inform people, but then people will bicker and debate over whether or not a particular treatment modality is better than the other one or whether it's viable, and people will get so passionate and offended and start cursing people out. And it just reminds me how unified we are and how we really need to just band together and be part of the same team. Right now, it seems like there's so much division in the recovery community that I don't know how we're ever going to conquer the heroin epidemic unless we actually stand tall and stand proud and stand together. So I guess I want to encourage people in this video, when you're reading these news articles and you're hearing about all these people dying, stand together. Stop bickering and debating over whether or not a particular treatment is the best, or if yours is better or viable. People say all the time that medicine-assisted treatment is just replacing one drug with another, and I'm not going to sit here and have a debate about that right now, but tell me right now how many people have died legitimately using Suboxone or methadone as a treatment option versus how many people are dying from heroin. People are dying because of opiate abuse and heroin abuse and the addiction. They're not dying from any treatment modality. Yeah, I understand that if you do some research, you might find 1 or 2 Suboxone-related deaths, in quotes, because there's not even real evidence that Suboxone was responsible for their death. Stuff like that. Yeah, you'll find a couple articles here and there, but now do research on the heroin epidemic and how many people are dying. So is it really worth debating over which treatment method is better when there are so many people dying because they're using heroin? We need to stand strong. We need to stand together. We need to take action. We need to do something. We talk about it all day long on the internet. And yes, I do believe by talking about it and spreading awareness that we are helping people. But I also want to try to coordinate maybe some kind of event in the Philadelphia area to start. And then maybe we can even talk about coordinating events all over the country just to get people out there and doing something. Maybe some community service type responsibilities, clean up the town, the neighborhood, maybe even just by seeing a group of people who are recovering addicts, trying to help, maybe work with the police, do something to be a constructive member of our society and cleaning up our town, because let's face it, if we can't clean up our own town, how can we clean up the world? So we need to start somewhere. We need to get out there and do something. We need to take a stand. So I am certainly interested in hearing any of your ideas in terms of what you would you think we should do in terms of gathering and getting together. I can certainly coordinate events, but I'd certainly like some help and support in doing that. So if anybody wants to come forward and we can discuss that, that would be great. But I certainly do know that it's time for a change and we need to take action. So let's coordinate something. Let's gather people together. Let's beat the heroin epidemic. Let's kill it. Let's get rid of it. It may take some time. I understand that. Heroin epidemic is bigger than we are right now, but maybe in time that'll change. I think that we can change the world in time, and regardless, as long as we save some lives in the process, then at least we're doing the right thing. So let's all stand together and not bicker and fight. Let's remember those people who have died because of heroin. And I honestly don't know, but based on everything I read, I'm guessing that that gentleman didn't intend to kill his girlfriend and unborn child. It's completely very sad on both sides. He did go to jail. He's paying the price for it. Hopefully he didn't intentionally do it, but geez, I mean, injecting your own arm is bad enough. Don't inject anybody else's, because ultimately you're risking their life and your own life every time you do it. And even if you don't mean to do it, if something happens, God forbid, you're responsible for it. Whether or not you agree with that isn't even the point. It's what the law says. So don't inject anybody else. Don't inject yourself. Get the help and treatment that you need. Let's help those people who are still suffering from addiction. Maybe we should coordinate an event where we actually go to an area where heroin is relatively popular and see what we can do to clean up that town, and maybe even hold up some signs and possibly even encourage those people down there who are addicted to maybe join our rally and stop using. So that might be a pretty good idea. Certainly like to try to execute that. Anyway, thanks for watching. It is extremely hot out here. It seems like we're always in the middle of a heat wave, so before I completely melt into a puddle, I think I need to go back inside. But anyway, thank you for watching. Visit our website, www.killtheheroinepidemicnationwide.org. Shorter version, KTHEN or KThen.org. Hope to see you soon. Peace and love.